Now, moving on from our need for personal growth and self fulfillment, where we look at how modern travel can include things like learning a new skill while you travel, as opposed to just blindly going visiting a new place. Okay, where we explored the cooking course in Thailand, Bangkok, which Courageous Kitchen actually organizes through the video itself. So if you're unclear of it, can you please go back and review the video? The video is already in the playlist on the Geography Singapore channel. So we will move on and look at the final one in terms of the need for new stuff, right? There's an increased need to discover the unique travel experiences. Okay, with the interconnectivity, the enhanced connectivity rather, right, with the onset of the internet and with social media especially, where people start flexing, okay, or start showing off where they go, okay, in the more traditional language. Um, there's the need to see more things because you are then exposed to more things, right? The curiosity about the world is increasing, experience different environments, and also with better transportation and more comfortable, faster, cheaper, safer transportation. Think back to our Doraemon magical door that we talked about in class, right? These things become more accessible to us, and you crave for what now you know is available out there. So I'll give you an example. In the past year, 12 months actually, I've had two friends visit Antarctica, and they don't know one another. Okay, they went on separate adventures to Antarctica. One is a retiree, right? Ex-colleague of mine from previous destination in school, previous school. Right, she went on this Antarctica trip, which I think was for 2 months long, with her husband. Right, so they went through South America, and then they went. I think the trip, the final leg of it, the cruise to Antarctica started from Argentina, right? So it was a 2 month trip, and all her adventures were on Facebook, okay, and so we all partook in it, and it becomes a curious new world that we some of us feel that maybe we want to try in the future, right? Similarly, another friend of mine who's working for the government as a lawyer, uh, took took a month of leave, right, and he went with his wife on his honeymoon to Antarctica as well. So these are destinations that previously were not that easy to get to because of transportation issues, and also because you don't think of going to Antarctica in the past. Right, just 20 years ago, this was really, really rare. It was like you've got to be a scientist to go to Antarctica. You don't go to Antarctica for a tour. You go to Antarctica to take part in some scientific research, even though a lot of it now is still packaged as a sort of a research visit where you do have to do some observation and some scientific data collection, right? That can be done by a layman. Okay, so it is become a thing now. So think about it. What do you think people compare about in terms of unique travel experiences? Right, in the past, people talk about, oh, I'm going to America in June for a holiday, right? I'm going to the US. I'm going to see the Northern Lights in Greenland, right? What do you think very rich people talk about? Do they also talk about going to see the Northern Lights in Greenland? Going to visit the Taj Mahal during the September break, and after having visited maybe the Mount Washington in June, right? What will be a unique travel experience for the rich? Maybe the moon, right? Where they talk about, oh, I'm going on a interstellar ride to the moon, okay, to moon base, to International Space Station, right? I'm flying on Virgin Intergalactic to experience zero G gravity. Okay? So this unique travel experiences, you need to bear in mind this will never end, right? There will be more places that people can continue to aspire towards going, right? A couple of months ago, if I'm not wrong, it was in January. There was a deep sea expedition down the Mariana Trench that went very, very wrong. What was that? There was a unique travel experience as well, right? There was also one of those things that were up and coming among the rich and well-to-do, well-heeled. Now, when you're looking at other reasons for travel, right, the motivation will vary depending on different people, and it's very important to remember that one single trip can tick many boxes for because a trip may not be to do one single activity at one single destination in that country itself. It could have multi destinations. So when you are able to schedule more activities at these destinations, right, people can satisfy different goals. Now, we're going to cover two more very important areas in terms of types of factors that affect your demand for tourism. Okay, so under the idea of demanding more because of an increase in ability to travel. Okay, this used to be packaged under an idea called demand factor, right? So what are some of these factors then? Things like increase in disposable income, okay, increase in your leisure time, access to leisure time first, and then increase in that. Okay, innovations in business, in terms of the tourist-related industries, which make it so much easier for you to travel now. Lowering of transportation costs, you look at how that is done, and also finally lowering of accommodation costs. Okay, so this is one of the areas we'll be looking at for this particular video. Okay, how an increase in ability to travel will lead to more tourism. But what is disposable income? Keep in mind, disposable income has a fixed definition. It is the income you get minus the taxes that you pay annually, right? So if you are, let's say you earn $100,000 a year, that's actually not a lot, That is okay. That's not little, To be fair, that's not little, but that's a decent amount to be earning after maybe working 10, 15 years in as a graduate from university, right? So you take home about $100,000 a year, right? You will have to pay income tax. You will have to pay whatever sort of taxes that you have. Maybe the tax rate is 30%. So what you end up with, you only end up with 70,000. That's your disposable income. Okay, not the gross income, which is the total amount that you earn, but the disposable income is the income that you get that you can actually spend minus taxes that you have paid or you will need to pay. Okay, so what can this income be used for? Anything, anything, material needs and wants. Not only your needs, but also your wants. So when you have more disposable income, it gives you the ability to afford more, to want more. Okay, the more you have, the more you want. That unfortunately is how humans behave, right? So as countries get higher on the development scale. Remember we talked about the different type of bulk of tourism in terms of the 80s, where you have the Japanese who had huge disposable incomes, and then in the 2000s you had the people from the south, from the Indian Peninsula, and as well as the the East Asian, the Chinese population itself. These are the people. Why is it that they suddenly take over? Because these are the people who suddenly have more disposable income, so they travel the world. Okay. The second thing that's very essential for travel to take place is leisure time. So disposable income and leisure time both cannot be missing in this formula of requiring travel. Like if you don't have leisure time, which means you don't have time away from work, right? You cannot travel. So if you are unable to take leave, then you cannot travel. That it is what it is. Okay, but is it possible that you cannot take leave? Are there jobs out there that you can think of that where you cannot take leave? Okay, right. So think about that. If you're employed by someone, there is always some sort of protectionist law that comes in play to protect your rights, to give you some form of paid leave. It may not be a lot, it may be 7 days, 14 days. In some cases, after you work for many, many years, you may have 21 days of paid leave. But there's actually a group of people that you come in contact with on an almost daily basis that don't have paid leave. Okay, these are teachers. Teachers don't have paid leave. Teachers, yeah, they have they have a portion of the school holidays, which they are technically protected from you, yes, and everyone else. So there is a rigid time frame where they have off time off from work. That is not technically paid leave. Paid leave is when you can choose when you want to go off. Okay, it's very common in middle class employees, right? The very very poor don't have allowance for this. Those who are daily wage, hourly wage, you stop working, you have no income. So unless you really have additional income, which is not very likely since you are in the lowest SES poverty group, right? They don't have leisure time. The very rich sometimes also don't have this because the moment they're self-employed business owners, they are unwilling to take time away from earning money, right? Now, this diagram here is a distribution of paid annual leave by countries in terms of how many days. So we took a very close look. There seem to be there seem to be chunks of people in certain areas that don't have paid leave still, right? Under the zero, you look at North America. Interestingly, North America is in that zone of zero. Right. Now, why is it so? Why is it so? Actually, this is probably an inaccurate data collection, right? Because North America, the cities itself do not definitely have no paid leave. They definitely have a sizable amount of paid leave for people in North America. Okay. But the other one I want to highlight is this country. The next lowest one is the one that looks like a rooster, right? This is China. Okay. So you need to remember China has very, very little paid leave, right? Very little paid leave. They do have very long periods where you have public holidays. For example, like the Labor Day weekend, Labor Day week. Sorry, not a weekend. It's a 1 week of public holidays, and the other one that's very big is the Chinese New Year. They have 2 weeks of public holiday. Okay, so as a result, they don't have paid leave because they have enforced leave. Right, so Europe generally has quite a sizable amount of leave. If you look at other countries, in terms of Southeast Asia, the average is about 5.5 to 10. Singapore is a little bit better. We are in the 21 to 25 range. Right, the other thing that encourages or allows for more tourism nowadays is, of course, business innovations. Things like group tours, which bring great convenience, right, to the people on tour. Right, everything is included: transportation, hotels, food, attractions in one ticket price. Right, where you pay, and there's even sometimes tour guides to bring you from location to location. So these are all rather important. Okay? The rise of things like travel websites, okay, that allow you to do self-service booking, cut out the middleman, lower the price, and on top of that, give you promotion discounts on and off. Right, this even discount innovations further bring down the pricing. So there is a tiny URL here. This is a Traveloka video. Right, this is a Traveloka video. So I want you to let's review where we can find this video as well. Right, this Traveloka video should be within the playlist. Right, the playlist. So let's look for the playlist of tourism. Okay, my apologies. I am not connected to the internet currently. I don't know why, but I will give you some time at the end of this to go through the videos that you have to watch. So the first one you will have to watch the Traveloka one. Either you go to the playlist in Geography Singapore channel and you click on it, or you come back and key in the tiny URL here. Okay, so this shows you Traveloka, one of the websites that is an all-in-one travel website where you can actually go and book not only the ticket but compare prices for hotels, types of rooms. Okay, and this is the instruction video on how to actually use Traveloka. Okay. Similarly, there's a Ryanair's video. What is budget airlines? How does budget airline come about? Right? What are the benefits of flying budget? Okay. How do they actually lower their prices to the point where it is actually really, really affordable now? Okay, so you do need to know a couple of these budget airline names in the event that you are answering a question and you want to highlight as an example. So the common ones we see in Singapore, of course, Jetstar, Scoot, AirAsia. In Europe, one of the very big ones will be Ryanair. You will see a lot of memes about Ryanair, about how horrible the service is or how non-existent the service is. But bear in mind, this is a budget airline with no service, no free flying. Okay, right. So one of the key things that the budget airlines do is they tend to focus on short haul flights. Okay, although having said that, in Singapore, right, because we are a hub location, a travel hub, we do have mid haul to long haul flights that are done through budget airlines as well. Right. Of course, you cannot fly to America on a Jetstar plane, but you can fly to Australia from Singapore. You can fly to places that are like slightly further away as well. Okay, so there are opportunities for this. Sometimes we transit, sometimes we because they're short haul planes most of the time, but there are those flights that can be a little bit further away. So what do they do? They don't give you anything else. A no frills experience, no food, sometimes even no bags. It's just that seat with a carry-on. Some cases, some very extreme budget airlines, they will even sell you the seat without the carry-on luggage. So if you want to have a carry-on, they charge you a little bit extra. You want to have check-in luggage, they charge you a little bit extra. You want to have a meal, they charge you a little bit extra. Right? You want to bring more luggage along, they charge you a little bit extra. So at the end of the day, is it possible to have a cheaper ticket? If you put everything in, yes, it's still cheaper sometimes than buying a ticket from a full cost carrier. So once again, the tinyurl.com budget cheap fly. This link brings you into another YouTube video that explains the functionalities of budget airlines. Another way to lower your accommodation cost is the new form of accommodations. In the past, right, when you think of accommodation overseas, it tends to either be a youth hostel, right, which is many room, many bunks, bunk beds or beds in a big room, very little security. Maybe you have a log cupboard, right? Yeah, no individual toilet, common facilities, or hotels, with the whole range of hotels. Now, with the emergence of Airbnb, right? Some of you may have used Airbnb before, some of you may not. Now, I need to fess up. I have never used Airbnb, and I don't feel like it's something I'm willing to try out as long as I'm flying with my children, right? But it does lower the cost. Okay, so what exactly is Airbnb? Is a company that connects landlords who have houses or rooms even, okay, that they want to rent out short term to tourists. Okay, so the Airbnb experience, what is it? How do you actually go about, or what do they actually seek to do for us? Right, this tiny URL here, how Airbnb works. This shows you how it can lower costs for a traveler, how or a group of travelers even, how it is actually more flexible, and how it can actually offer you a more authentic experience when you travel there. Okay, very importantly, you need to remember if you're using Airbnb as an example of lowering accommodation costs. They are not the only one nowadays. If you use some of the other travel apps, right, where you can book hotels, there are also people or landlords who post their Airbnb there. Although Airbnb is actually a company name, right? So they can also post their rooms or their homes up there for you to rent short term. Right. So this weekend, what I need you to do is I need you to go into these three websites and explore. Okay, pretend you are booking a trip to wherever you want to go to. Right. What can these websites do for you? Is it only ticket booking? Right. Can they secure a good ticket price for you? Is it only for accommodation? Right. Is it only hotels? Okay. Try to book for first a single. What can a single traveler have in terms of options? Then try to look for family, right? Family of four. Why family of four? Because I've noted over the years that family of four is a very tricky number to book a hotel room for. Okay, especially when you have family of four with two teenagers, they are above 12. Right? So these three websites important. I want you to go and explore this ticket, accommodation, hotels, and see whether indeed by having these few things that we talked about today, okay, in terms of business innovations, in terms of lowering transport costs, lowering accommodation costs, right? Do these three things actually really through these websites lead to lower costs of travel, and hence important, come back to our main thing, and because costs are lower, you're able to demand more in terms of travel. Okay. So once again, I will post the videos that you're supposed to watch for Ryanair, for budget carriers, sorry, Airbnb, as well as Trivago, will be in the Geography Singapore YouTube channel, right? Please go and enjoy watching the videos. Okay. After you finish those videos, then this lesson package is complete. Right. Next next package we will be next lesson we will be looking at increased mobility. How does that help boost tourism? Okay, that is for the next lesson.